used to be I could just press my little button to get the stream started, and that was it. It would automatically take the thumbnail picture and whatever. But now I have to manually tell it that I want it to be horizontal, which used to be the default. And now I have to select to take the thumbnail image, whereas in the past it used to do that by itself. And I just don't understand. But anyway, that's just me being spoiled with a first world problem. So anyways, what's up guys? Today I thought I would try streaming using a connection that I'm not sure how well it's gonna go. So this is either going to go well or it's going to act up in a minute. And I'm also not very confident about the device that I'm using, especially how well it'll hold to where I have it seated on. So we'll see. So what do I mean with my video stream title, I guess? Basically, when I was observing a topic about, it had to do with someone's personal issues. Let it be something about something that someone did to them and it made them cry, or the occasional TikToks that I see in which people are like, oh my god, I'm seeing my favorite celeb for the first time, major sob. Or my favorite celeb is getting ready to play the song that saved me from deleting myself from this earth, sob. You know, stuff like that. And then it gave me the idea of how I have been in the comment section of people giving opinions on certain influencers or celebrity meltdowns and stuff, and how they find it cringe when sometimes videos like that, as opposed to being raw and authentic, they end up getting edited for some reason. And when I think about it, immediately I can think about the fact that most people who produce content who are big, they tend to have people doing the editing for them. In my case, I'm solo. So everything that you ever see on this channel, first of all, anything that I personally ever produce is ever, like, this is going to be the only place you'll ever see it at. So if you see something somewhere else that I didn't make or I didn't participate on, more than likely my face has been stolen and it's been AI-fied. Don't listen to that. The only way you'll see me on someone else's channel would be from a third person perspective. I'm walking by them, I'm ignoring them, or I'm on a stoplight, whatever, something like that. Fine, can't control it. But outside of that, anything ever where I'm sharing thoughts or opinions, it's always going to be here. So not everyone who does this type of thing, some people who have editors and the editors may not be able to help themselves. I look at them as artists, and as much as I think that they ought to leave footage raw whenever someone is coming forward about sharing something sensitive, or I guess apologizing for a mishap or something, I think it's best if you leave it authentic. But in some cases I can see why you might want to edit it. And that's kind of the part that I wish to defend a little bit today. And when I think about it, anytime you produce something, it's an artistic form of expression, whether you're writing, using letters, or using like hieroglyphics kind of writing. I know I'm a blend of using actual alphabet and using my own little Zam pictures that I just doodle to remind myself of a little something. There's also the aspect of, depending on what the matter is, if it's a memory that you think is something that needs to be amplified, I can understand how, by you putting special effects, it may help you build up the emotion that you felt, and it helps project it onto the audience. I can personally appreciate tales from the past, for instance, that are political, and it may come from someone who, I don't know, they're a veteran from war, I've never lived through a war. I hope I never do, but it helps for an editor to go in there and add special effects based on what this narrator is expressing. Visual aid of that kind is helpful. So, why would I not want for someone who is sharing a personal story that is impactful to have a skilled editor to produce a visual effect to accompany what they're saying? If I had it my way, some of the stories that I share about, particularly the ones in which I express that this made me so mad, or I cried so much, or this and that, sometimes I wish I could draw the picture for you guys of exactly what I saw that made me react the way that I did, what I heard that made me react the way that I did. But at the same time, I think that me being deprived of that skill is good because it forces me to learn to dominate the art of using my words to build that picture. With that said, sometimes I think that the folks who share a story, some of them benefit from having editors who can illustrate what they're saying, because there are some people who simply are not as gifted with spoken words as we all, I believe, should be. And there is some stuff that even I personally tell myself my vocabulary feels limited to where I cannot find the exact word I'm looking for this particular thing. If someone can give you a visual rep in its place, I don't see that issue. I don't feel like it takes from the authenticity. What I do think takes away from authenticity is if you're trying to overly dramatize it. I think that is what makes it a little wrong or a little bad sometimes. And for me, as long as the content and the substance in it is delivered and present, I really don't see anything wrong with it. That's pretty much what I'm trying to illustrate here. I understand the people who feel like it takes away from the authentic side. Maybe you, as an audience member, might be someone who prefers words create the picture as opposed to the visual accompaniment. And personally, depending on what it is, I can be that kind of person. There are certain topics in which I'm perfectly fine being an auditory exclusive audience member. There are other topics in which I feel like I need visual representation. And it's particularly if you're, let's say that you're a pilot and you're telling me the story of a malfunction in your aircraft. I would prefer that you have a way of showing me what the issue was, because that technical, mechanical vocab, I simply don't have it. I will not be able to follow your story very well. That would be an example of you telling me a personal story that was impactful and accompanying it with visual effects. That is awesome. But if it's something that's more like trauma dumping kind of stories, I never think that visual reps are necessary for those. And I think that the only time I can find it as a problem is if your, I guess, visual representation becomes fictional. Like, sure, I know what it's like for you to get angry, but just because you get angry, I don't need to be seeing in your video that your face or your eyes are glowing red and you're shooting laser through them, because that's impossible. See what I mean? So when you exaggerate an element like that, I think that's when I become a little bothered by you including special effects. But outside of that, as long as you're maintaining the accuracy, factual content in your story, I really don't mind the special effects. So I find it strange that from time to time I'll see people saying about celebrities or something that their video response to something would have been much better without the special effects. Some of these people maybe don't have a right to post their own content unless they run it through their talent agency or whatever it is that they have. That's one of the things that makes me be like, I don't care how much money I get offered. If something becomes too big for me to continue to be the solo manager, it is too big, period. Let it go. I think it's best for you to always have the creative control of whatever it is you produce. Once you give it up, it's like you giving up your power, you're giving up your right. And again, I'm not saying you should be opposed to getting ahead if that's what your goals are, but consider what the cost could be, what the consequences of that could be. There are musicians who wish they could put out some kind of music, but they cannot because of what their record label tells them, or something like that. I'm like, that sucks. Imagine being an artist deprived of your very talent. That's what it feels like sometimes. And that's why they make their millions, then eventually they try to go independent. How about if you just don't? Try to build your way up. Maybe you're not intended to make it as big as you think you can. Something like that. So, anyway, guys, that's pretty much it when it comes to this thought that I had. I think that special effects on personal videos are not a bad thing. I think they become a bad thing when you overuse them to try to manipulate your audience into feeling a certain way and try to get them to side with you or support you with something. And I think that a story that's genuine, even when it's presented completely unedited, uncut, that one will still manage to get the audience to develop whatever reaction they need to develop. See what I mean? Like whatever reaction it induces on them, it'll just happen. You don't have to sit there and try to convince them with the gloomy music and the gloomy filter and all that. Just tell your story, be factual, be real. That's the most important thing. Don't try to exaggerate anything, and you should be fine. But then again, you guys know me. I'm just very simple, and maybe that's a bad thing. Holger says, "Hi, gorgeous. Hope you are doing well. I'm doing fine. Not too bad. I had some days off work, and it really didn't feel like I was able to get much done, but stuff did get done. And there's something that I'm still working on that's kind of pending. But outside of that, everything is okay. Tomorrow I gotta work, but I'm kind of looking forward to it since it's been a few days since I was off. I feel physically and mentally recovered from that. And then when it comes to the stuff outside of work, I'm at this stage now where I can just start doing whatever I can and nothing needs to be rushed. I feel like the more time sensitive stuff that I was telling you about, that seems to be over now. So yeah. But now what I want to do is try to have a more normal schedule, what I'm used to, because there were some days in which it's either I can't do some of the side stuff, or I cannot do my workouts like I'm used to, or I cannot eat like I would like to, or not make videos like I like to. I think making videos for sure as of right now is still my favorite recreational activity. And then all I was able to do was like 3 minute clips of very simple topics because of how busy my mind was. And I'm like, no, I'm ready to go back to my usual topics in which I wonder about bullshit, you know. But fortunately, I hope I got to say this in one of my recent videos, but I was making notes of everything that came to mind that I found interesting, that I intend to ramble about in the future. This happened to be one of them, but this is probably like the easiest topic that I had in my list. And I'm just eager to go back to rambling away like I'm used to, especially from my car. But what sucks is that it's starting to get hot and I don't want to be out there in the heat and sticky and my phone starts like the temperature on it reaches 200 degrees and no. So now I gotta figure out what I'm going to do about where exactly to film things as I go. But anyway, I won't worry about that until we get there. Well, you guys, this is pretty much gonna be it from me. I have to go and take care of a little something something, but I'm glad that I put this out here and that some of you guys joined, or maybe will join a little later. And yeah, just know that I'm around. I'm just dealing with some stuff, but nothing too bad. I'll see you guys soon.